Hey there, this is Alex with Gray Area. Welcome to our series Spotlight, where our mission is to build a bigger and more united house music community by sharing new and exciting artists, festivals, and event brands with you. In this interview, you'll hear from Bastian Bux, experienced early success as a pop dance star. We'll learn how quitting music led him to discover authenticity in his sound. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more interviews like this. The first question I always like to ask is, can you explain your sound to me like I've never heard dance music before?
Wow, that's such a
I know it's a tough
question. Yeah, it's a tough one. I would say it's groovy, it's intense, it's funny, but in the same time, it's deep. So yeah, it's kind of a weird mix of emotions, I would say. And I think this is because I love house and techno. But if I have to think that you don't know nothing about dance music, if I tell you that it's something in between house and techno, that would be weird. So I would say it's like an emotional, sexy story.
Yeah, I like that. That's really well done. Well done.
Thank you very much.
And on the fly too. I'm impressed. So can you tell me a little bit about your musical upbringing? Before you were introduced to dance music, what were your parents listening to in the house, and what were you listening to?
My parents, if I look back to the old days, I remember a lot of 80s music in my house, funky music, also a lot of jazz. And from my older sister's side, she's been really into indie rock music all her life. So this has been like the soundtrack of my childhood, especially 80s music, disco, funky. And I think somehow I felt connected with this kind of music since I was a child. Even though my family was not having any connection with the music side. I mean, they are more like, their artistic side is more like about drawing and painting.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, they've been all their life listening to music. So somehow I think this affected me.
Interesting. Do you feel like any of those influences come out in your music now?
I think yes. And it's an interesting question because I'm realizing this now, just now. I've been all my career saying, no. My family has nothing to do with my music because they were listening to totally different music. But now I think yes, because sometimes, especially during the last couple of years, I'm like revisiting this music from my really, really old days. The music that has been the soundtrack of my home.
Yeah.
And I'm like surprised about how many influence I got without even realizing it. So I think yes. I think yes.
Interesting. And then you said that your sister was the one that got you into dance music. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about how that happened and how you started to develop a love for dance music culture as a result of that?
I think that as I said, my older sister started to put a lot of music when I was in the school, and she's 7 years older than me, so she started partying before than me. Right. And someday she changed the music in her bedroom.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? This is not something that is coming from a proper band, you know. I cannot guess which instrument is this one. It feels to me like music from the space. I remember telling this to my sister. This music is like from the outer space. And I think this was the first thing that triggered my interest into dance music. And from that moment, I was like, oh, I need to know. I need to discover how this been done. And this was my very beginning. This was the main reason why I started my passion about dance music, because I wanted to discover how it was done.
So at that point, you said you wanted to discover how it was done. Had you already considered being a musician? Was that something that you were interested in, or was this like the spark that started that?
I was not even knowing that there was a career, about making music. But I was this uh, curious kid, trying to figure out everything. I mean, all the machines in my house, I had to open them and see what were inside of them, and trying to understand how everything works. So in the beginning, I was not really interested into having a proper work. I spent all my childhood saying that I wanted to be an astronaut. So dreams not coming true for me.
Well, a little bit. You said it sounded like music from outer space. So in a sense,
Yeah,
you did become
exactly.
an astronaut, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and I have a spaceship. So yeah,
Exactly.
kind of. Yeah. I just wanted to understand how this music was done, and when I started to do my investigation, trying to discover how everything was. It was by accident, but this is such a cool story. I
Yeah.
was not really a good guy in school. I was a bit troublemaker,
Yeah.
and they were. I don't know how it's saying in English when they are not allowing you to play with the rest of the child, and they put you in a room just alone.
Oh,
Just to think.
you had detention.
Yeah, exactly. and I was in a room full of old CDs and magazines,
Yeah.
and there was a really really old PlayStation game called Music 2000,
Oh my God,
and
I
it
remember
was
that
from
game.
PlayStation 1.
Yeah,
Do you remember it?
I do.
Yeah,
I played that game too, or I used
and-
that. That was like one of the first things that I ever like made music with.
Yeah, for me also. I mean, and this was by accident. I was there in detention, and I was like, "Oh my God, what is this?" And so I took it and I brought it home. And I was not even having PlayStation, but one of my neighbors had one, and I said, "Listen, I need to know what is this, because I was reading." Learn how to make your music, be the next superstar, you know. And I was like, I need to discover what's inside of this, and I will always remember what I felt when I played this game for the very first time. My life changed,
Yeah.
and that was the moment where I knew 100% that I wanted to do this the rest of my life. So yeah, this was my very beginning.
That's so cool. That's so fascinating that just by chance you happened to be in a room with this thing and you just made it work. Um
Yes.
so how quickly after that did you start to like acquire equipment or figure out how to do this at a different way? How did you start like to evolve
Um,
beyond the video game?
I was not having money to buy stuffs. My
Right.
family, I wouldn't say my family was poor, but we were not having a lot of money. It was a difficult time for my family when I was a child.
Mhm.
So I started to work, to help more than work. I started to help in a radio station in my hometown,
Oh, interesting.
and there, yeah, I was this kid going around all the time and saying, "Hey, I want to learn, please let me be with you. I will just look how you work." And someday one one really good guy said, "Okay, come with me, and I will let you be in the room, in the DJ booth there in the radio station." And this was my first contact with a proper DJ booth with some turntables, and there was also a computer in there
Yeah.
with a really really uh, old software and stuff. So I started there to work. I started to work helping them. I started cleaning the room and making all the stuff for them, just the coffees, photocopies,
Yeah.
everything that they need. And they started to pay me little bit, and I started to save some money, and and yeah, this was my very beginning. But the first things that I did to get some money from music or
Yeah.
music production were there inside that room, because I remember one day in the school, one of my friends, when Gail told me, "Hey, you know how to do these stuffs with music?" Because I was, recording my mixtapes and stuff.
Right.
And she was like a hip hop teacher, and she said, I would need to make like some edit. When this hip hop um, dancers go to some championship, they want to dance in 1 minute. They dance like 20 songs.
Right.
It's like 10 seconds of this, 10 seconds of that,
Right.
one explosion. Yeah, and this girl was trying to have like somebody to make for her like one edit of everything mashed together.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I can do it. Just come with me. We went to the radio station. I was using this SoundForge
Oh, I
software to
remember
edit
Soundforge.
everything.
Yeah.
and when we finished, she was so happy, and she said, "I will pay you 30 euros." I remember. It's like I get like $30, and I was fascinated. I was like, "Really? Are you paying me?" And blink, I had this brilliant
Yeah.
idea in my
There it
head.
is.
If you need this, every single hip hop teacher in town will need this.
Right.
So I started going around and to every single gym and then school in my hometown, and also other cities around, and I started making interesting money with this.
Nice.
Yes, and with this I started to save. I got my first job as a DJ and blah blah blah.
That's so awesome. You like found your own way to like make it work and like actually start making money as a DJ before you were even a DJ.
Yes. I started making money as a producer.
Yeah, right.
Producer way before getting money for being a DJ, like 2 years before. Yeah.
Nice. And then you were actually DJing and making music under your own name um a while back. And you did that for a while, then you decided you almost quit music at one point. Why did you quit and what brought you back?
I started really, really young to play music and to make music. I was this story, as I've been explaining to you, I was like 16 years old.
Right.
And I started DJing when I was 16, 17 years old. And when I was 22, I made a really, really, really popular song here in Spain and also in South America. I started getting booked, and from 1 week to the other, I went from being a 50 euros DJ to being booked for 1 year and travel around. And I had a big success. And it was so good, but it became really, really mainstream. And it was not my intention to make like a mainstream pop
Right.
dance song.
Right.
But it came into the radio without me knowing what would happen. And
Yeah.
for the first 2 years, it was amazing. You can imagine. I was able to help my family go out from all their problems finally, and it was amazing. It changed my life. But after 2 years, I started to feel not really happy about it. Also
Yeah.
because this was around 2012. The EDM scene started to grow worldwide, and everything started to affect the dance culture.
Yeah.
My song was kind of tribal house,
Right.
with Latin voices over it and everything. It was still club music for me, but when the EDM thing started to mix with the mainstream side of dance music, for me everything started to be less interesting. And
Yeah.
somehow I told to myself, look, I am 24, 25 years old. I got a big success, but this is not what I want to do. with my life and with my music. This is not something that I feel happy about, because I started being in this radio circuit where you are supposed to have hit after hit, and I was trying to catch the formula of the success all the time, and I was not happy. It was not fulfilling me. So I remember one day I called my manager in that time, and I said, look, I cannot do this anymore. So I quit.
Wow.
I totally quit from one day to the other. I started the business with my savings, and I for a moment I thought I would never ever come back. But after 1 year, I was still making music, just for fun.
Right.
And after 1 year, Koyu, he's a really famous
Yeah.
techno DJ.
Yeah, I know Koyu.
We were friends since 2010, when we both were receiving an award here in Spain. And he said, "Hey, are you making music, or are you just disconnected with the electronic music side?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm actually making music just for fun." And he said, "Can you send me some beats?" And yeah, I did. I sent him, and he was like, "Man, those are amazing. Are you thinking to coming back and to releasing them?" And I was saying, "No, I'm not even thinking about it." And he said, "You should." And this is why I came back.
Nice. That's so cool. It's nice that not only did a friend bring you back into it, but that you took that time off to like collect yourself, and you realized that you could do this for fun. And what you were making was more you.
Yes.
Does it feel more authentic this time around? Does it feel like the music is closer to your heart now?
Yes, absolutely. And I have to say that this what happened to me was one of the most important things that ever happened in my career. To have the opportunity to realize how important it is to enjoy what you are doing. It may sound like a topic, but it's true. You can be really successful. You can make interesting money. You can travel. You can be famous, and you can be absolutely unhappy. And when you are somehow listening to yourself and trying to find what fulfills you,
Yeah.
it works, and it works for good, and your experience is much better. And now I can say that I've been enjoying for the last 6-7 years, since Bastian Bux was born.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying the best moment of my career, for sure.
That's so beautiful. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you've been able to like turn it around and continue making music, because it's been such a huge part of your life for so long that it was hard to imagine yourself not doing it.
Yeah, I think some part of me was knowing that I would never disconnect with music, and during my time off, I was still in contact, because I started giving lessons. Like I was a teacher of music production in a school in Barcelona, and I was connected with it, and I was happy with it, but in different ways. And this is why I say it was so important for me, because I realized how many interesting sides this job can have, rather than the obvious one of having success and being a great DJ, playing and touring. It can be really, really interesting to discover the other sides of this world. And I think it's something that happened to everybody during the last year, right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely. Oh God, yes.
We were forced to realize different things, and the wheel stopped, and we suddenly had to look around and say what's left, And for me, it happened 6 years ago, and I feel so thankful about it, even though it was hard. You can imagine it was so difficult for me to make this step. and also I say to myself, if I come back, I don't want to have any connection with my previous career. This is why I changed my name. This is why for 2 years I didn't show my face. I didn't tell to nobody that I was me. Only Koyu knew it.
Right.
And I changed everything. I changed my manager. I changed my agency. Nobody was knowing that I was doing this. And yeah, it was so funny.
And then, you know, around 215, you hooked up with Elrow, which is local. I mean, Elrow started in Barcelona. How did that expand how you see performance? Because Elrow is such a like bright and colorful, and like everything is over the top at Elrow. So how do you feel like that changed the way that you perform, or changed the way that you view how you can be on stage?
I would say that somehow I've been born to play in Elrow, because yeah, I've never felt like, oh, I have to adapt. Not even the way that I have to play in there. I felt like connected, absolutely connected with them since the very beginning, and I think that you don't need to adapt to nothing there. It will shape you, and you cannot do nothing about it. I mean, it's so intense, it's so powerful. The energy, the quality of the production, and the overall mood of the people. You know, everything. So you don't have to do nothing special to connect in there, because the energy is so intense that everything will happen without you even realizing. And for me, it felt like so natural. Everything happened so naturally. What's more important about Elrow is that the people behind it, it's so good, it's so special. Everybody is like really, really interesting, and everybody knows their craft, you know. So it gives you this sense of responsibility that you have to give your best, that you have to do what you know the best way that you can. So for me, that I've been, I when I think about myself, I want to think that I'm a really hard worker person, responsible person that wants to offer the best. And when I think about the Elrow, I think the same. I think it's high quality that wants to offer the best. So since the very beginning, my relationship with them, the work that I do for them, it's been in this really respectful level of responsibility. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. How does it feel to join like a group of people that have such a huge legacy, not just in Spain as event producers and as entertainment, as like leaders in the entertainment industry, but in like worldwide? They're kind of they're a huge force in dance music too. They've been here since the beginning. So how does it feel to join a group of people that have such a long history?
For me, it's amazing. I still cannot believe it, and I'm being honest when I say this. I used to spend time with Juan Arnau. I can consider him my friend, and I still cannot believe that I've had this huge luck. Like I can think that I'm one in 7 billion people, you know, being able to spend hours and hours speaking about our passion. I feel thankful. I feel blessed. I'm learning a lot from them every day, every single day. During this last year, we are spending a lot of time together in the gym. We speak and say, look at ourselves, you know, where we are now. And we speak about everything. And I can tell you that it's a blessing to be in contact with people so talented, having this legacy. The Juan Arnau Jr., he is like the 7th of his generation doing
Yeah.
this. It's crazy because when you are with him in the gym, he's speaking about dance music, about what's the next stage he's imagining, what's the next idea that he's having, what he wants to do. I mean, he's so passionate. The same happens with his father.
Yeah.
I had not the opportunity to know his grandfather, but people who had this opportunity is saying that he was the same. He was at the door of Florida 135, saying hi to Laurent Garnier, and he was his grandfather. You
That's
know,
crazy.
yeah, it's crazy, and I feel so lucky and so thankful to have the opportunity to spend time with them, because it's amazing. They are legends.
Yeah, absolutely. You use this tagline, reducing everything surrounding a DJ and producer to its essential element. Can you talk a little bit in more detail about why that statement resonates with you?
This was the reason why I wanted to hide my identity. You know, I mean, this statement is connected with the story I explained to you before.
Right.
I wanted to get rid of everything that pushed me away from music.
Yeah.
And in some way, this was the beginning of the social media thing. The It was so intense at the beginning, especially for a person and an artist um, focused on mainstream music.
Right.
I was involved in the radio things, um, even some television, and I wanted to get rid of all of this, and I wanted to be judged just because of my music. I wanted nobody to say, "Oh, guy, but you were making this radio station tribal dance music," you know.
Yeah.
I didn't want nobody to say this. I wanted to be like fresh. I wanted to be like some kind of a mystery, and this is why we wrote this with one of my friends. He wrote this statement, and I loved it, and yeah, this is why.
I love that. You travel. I'm gonna switch gears here and talk about you traveling the U.S. by car on tour. Um, I've lived here my whole life, and I've been able to do that once, and it's pretty amazing to like go across the country and see it that way. You know, especially if you've never lived here before, it's just such a beautiful and massive country. Can you share an interesting story from that experience?
There were plenty of them. There were plenty of
I
them.
bet.
Look, I can tell you one thing, that I've never drank more coffee than during this trip. because, because I had to go from San Francisco to Chicago uh, in 5 days.
Wow.
Yes, because I had a gig in Chicago, and yeah, it was amazing. I spent, I think I spent all the money of my gigs during the first 2 3 years of Bastian Bux, just because I wanted to see everything in every single country, and in the US especially. I've had the luck of playing a lot in there, but I didn't know that I was in the beginning of a long story with the US. You know, it was just my first or second tour,
Yeah.
and I said, I cannot go there and not visit everything. So I rent a car, and I traveled across the country. Like literally, I saw almost everything, and it was so good. I met a lot of people um, in a lost village in the middle of nothing, and it was amazing. Really, really amazing.
That's so cool. Um, what's been the biggest professional lesson you've learned in your career?
Okay, can you repeat, please?
What's been the biggest professional lesson you've learned in your career?
You need perspective.
Mm,
This is the biggest lesson. You need perspective to learn, to properly learn things, and to give the value that they deserve. When I say perspective, I mean, for example, you need to know how how it feels to be a promoter if you want to be booked by a promoter.
Yeah.
You need to know how it feels to be in the dance floor, in way to be a DJ and to play for a dance floor.
Right.
You need to understand the all the sides. It's like a Rubik cube, you know.
Yeah.
Till you don't understand every single side, you will never be able to
solve
make the
it.
whole thing. Yeah, to solve
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, the most important lesson has been to realize how important it is to have perspective, and this perspective um, arrived to me thanks to this story that I told you, that suddenly I felt so uh, unhappy, so sad. I felt like really bad. It was probably the worst moment of my life. And can you imagine? I was this kid having no money, wanting, dreaming about being booked, playing around, and after 2 3 years of success, I was not happy. You know,
Right.
it was so hard for me psychologically. I had to read a lot of books. I had to speak with a lot of people to not fall deep in a
Depression.
shithole.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is serious stuff. And yeah, I learned how important it is to be able to see with different eyes from different angles, um, every single thing in life, but especially in our job.
Yeah. I think you bring up an important point there too, because I think now people talk about mental health a lot. Um, they do, because we have so many really sad stories of of producers and artists who didn't make it through their journey and weren't able to get over those humps in
Yeah.
life. And I find it really interesting that you realized that you needed to get yourself out of that situation so you could be a healthier person.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to people that are struggling with that? What kind of advice would you give somebody who's struggling with their mental health and figuring out how to move forward in the best way possible?
I would recommend them to force themselves to try to learn something new. For me, this was like my boat, you know, to survive.
Yeah.
I try to learn something new, and I learned how to code, how to program. You know, I
Oh,
learned.
wow.
Yes, I learned how to, and I discovered that I love it. I learned how to use graphic design software, and I discovered that I love it. And I learned a lot of stuff. I learned a bit how to cook, not that much, but somehow when you are focusing your attention and your energies into learn something new, something that you are not expecting to be good at, it's different. You are not trying to be the best at it. You are just focusing your energies now into something. um, if you are doing this, you are not focusing your energies into what's depressing you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So this would be the best advice, I think. Just try to learn. Try to learn something. Force yourself to focus into something. And every 5 minutes, if you want, let yourself to think about the same things over and over, but just 5 minutes and then come back. And this is a true story. I was having one app in my phone called Pomodoro. It was some kind of an alarm
Yeah.
letting you spend 5 minutes of spare time and then 30 minutes focusing into something. So I was using this whenever I was learning something, and I tell you, I learned a lot of stuff, and this was helping me a lot, because not only because you learn something with your work, but somehow it's giving you ideas, but it's also giving you this feeling of, hey, I'm useful for more stuffs. I can make different stuff. I can be I can be, useful for
Yeah.
more things. And this is so good. This is a really, really good advice, I
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that.
think. You're
I
welcome.
love that. That was beautifully said. And I always love to end on this question. What excites you about the future of dance music?
Wow, this is so interesting. What excites me is that I think that we are going ahead to a moment where everything will be mixed.
Mm,
I think that we can still not imagine how it's gonna be the art of the future, but I can tell that what's happening with technology, that suddenly you are having everything mixed and you cannot make any difference. What's our smartphone? It's a computer, it's a phone, it's some tool for design or for do whatever. I think that the same will happen with art, and especially with dance music.
yeah.
I think that we were the first ones um, having to adapt to the internet world.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, we were struggling because our industry was shifting from analog to digital.
Right.
And now we see that this is happening because of Amazon. This is happening to everybody. People was
Hmm.
was like so safe in their safe zone. No, this will never happen to my t-shirt store, and now it's happening to you.
Right.
But this happened to us 20 years ago. But I was not seeing a lot of changes during the last 20 years. Only the changes were happening around production. Production
Right.
went to the stadium size, and this is what this has been almost everything. But now I think that we will see art offered in different ways, and this is exciting me a lot. I think that we will see not only new styles of music. This is not what I'm saying. I'm speaking more about different ways to offer the experience of music.
Yeah.
And this is what excites me, and this is something that I'm also trying to figure out, and try to come up with new ideas.
I love that. I love that. And it sounds like some of the things you learned in your downtime, programming and graphic design, are probably going to be really helpful in figuring some of this stuff out. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you can expect a lot of these both sides in my future craft, I would say. And I think that music is so good, it's so interesting. I think that I will always make music, but music is not enough for me now. And I think that now we are having amazing tools in our pockets
Hmm.
that allow us to enjoy in different ways, and I want to take advantage of these possibilities. And I think that a lot of people will, and this is what excites me.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for
Thanks
that.
to you.
And thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to me today. This was a lot of fun. It was great talking to you. So
Same,
happy to
thanks to
meet
you.
you. And we'll definitely be in touch. Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks.
All
It's
right.
been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Same.